purpose of this tutorial is to show you how to access your account, your positions, place trades, and view market quotes directly from your cell phone without a separate mobile trading app or subscribing to another application. Hopefully you've already downloaded the DeCarley Trading mobile app on your phone. The DeCarley Trading app itself is not necessarily, in fact it's not, meant to place trades or view your account, but it will bring you to the place where you can do those sorts of things. To open the DeCarley Trading mobile app, click on the icon on your home screen or wherever you've docked it, or you may need to search through your apps if you haven't docked it on your home screen. Just click on the icon and it'll pull up the app. Obviously, as mentioned, this app is specifically designed for informational purposes to distribute our trading ideas in our newsletters and other sorts of things. But we've added a trading platform login button at the top of the homepage, and if you just click on it, it will bring you to the StoneX Futures and Options platform, also known as CQG Desktop. Basically, what we're doing is we are logging into the platform on our mobile device. So it's a web-based platform. This isn't a downloaded app, obviously. We're accessing it through the DeCarley Trading app, but we're not downloading a separate application. Instead, we are simply logging into the web-based StoneX platform. Again, it's CQG Desktop on our mobile devices. So obviously to log in, we simply enter our username and password. Click verify and it will take you to the platform. The version of the platform that's displayable on a mobile device is a lot different than the version that you would see on your computer, on a laptop or a desktop. There is a way to view the desktop version or the laptop version, in other words, the full version on your cell phone, but most people don't have enough screen space on their cell phone to make that worthwhile. If you have a folding phone, that might work for you, but for most people, we're going to just simply use the skinny version of the platform, which displays all the information, just not quite as fancy. Now, if you are one of the few that does have a very large screen on your mobile phone or you have a fold phone, I'm going to show you how to change the display really quickly. If you click on the three bars on the upper left-hand side, it's going to pull up your menu. And if you scroll down to preferences, you're going to see right in the middle of, well, that's actually the bottom of the interface menu. You can see layout is mobile. I could change that to desktop. I'm going to do that, and it's not going to be impressive because this screen is too small, but I'll just show you what it does. And it takes quite a while to load the settings and everything on a mobile device, but you can see there's just not enough real estate. Everything's crammed, not what most of you are going to want to do. So if you want to go back to the mobile view, it's real easy. Same thing, open up your preferences. You might have to get your keyboard out of the way, so you might have to minimize it. And again, go to interface, layout, desktop, and then I'm going to choose mobile. And as an FYI, this platform, the basically CQG StoneX platform or CQG Desktop, retitled StoneX Futures, it's going to save your settings per user. So you're logging in with your email address. The settings that you set on your computer are going to carry to your phone and vice versa. And that includes quote lists and those sorts of things. So here we are back to the mobile version, mobile view, which I think we can all agree, not as much information, but it's a lot easier to read and to work with. And you'll see at the top in the middle, if I click on Meets, there's a little arrow next to it. And I can choose between any of the saved watch lists or symbol lists that I have created or shared or installed into the software originally. So I'm going to go to DT watch list. This is the DeCarley Trading watch list. This is a list that basically lists most of the products that we are currently trading with our clients via recommendations or things like that. So we're following them most closely. Obviously, you don't have to go to that watch list. You may not even have that. If you haven't uploaded one of our templates, you won't even have that. You could go to a standard list. For example, if you scroll down to the bottom, you're going to see library. Library are not customized lists. Those are lists that were created by CQG or StoneX or whoever. I'm not even quite sure which party created them, but they're basically default lists. So I can click on indices and I'll see the stock indices. I can go back to the library. I can click on micros and it's going to show me the micros. I'm going to go back to the DT watch list. That's what I'm most comfortable with because that's what we're using. And I'll show you what we're looking at here. It's actually a really nice interface in that it's very simple. There's a lot of information in a very small amount of space. You can see the first symbol is the E-mini S&P 500 for June. You can see the last trade is 56.74.5. And you see there's an A and B next to it. That's the bid or the ask. So it's showing you if people are buying or selling. You can see the bid ask right next to it. So you can see obviously in the E-mini S&P it's very liquid. So the bid ask is always going to be very tight. And then the far right row, you see a percentage change. And you can also see a bar under the symbol, EPM25, that shows you red and blue. And that kind of shows you is the market up or down, or where the momentum is. Is it bearish? Is it bullish? Are we near the high or the low of the day? And you can see we're kind of in the middle. So those are the basic features of the quote board. And obviously you can scroll up and down if there are things that aren't visible on the page. Now, to place orders or to view a chart, you would click on the symbol. So I'm going to click on the E-mini S&P 500, and you'll notice the icons at the very top. There's a chart. There's a word that says hot. That's for a hot ticket. It's kind of like a dome panel. You can click on DT. That's an actual dome panel than the regular dome panel. You can also click on OT, which is an old school order entry ticket. That's what I would prefer to use. It's just identical to the one that you see on the web version of the platform. You can toggle between buy and sell. You can use the three green buttons at the bottom if you're buying, or they're red if you're selling. Those three buttons are buy at the bid, buy at the offer, or buy at the ask. And then the last one's buy at the market. Or you can use the bar at the bottom, which is to use the functions that you're using above. So if you change the quantity and the type and the price, you can use this bar at the bottom to use the parameters that you stipulated at the top. If you just want to buy at the market, again, don't worry about that. You don't have to use the drop down. You could change it to market and do all that, but you don't have to do that work. Just click the third mini button. And of course, there's various order types, just like you would see on the original platform. You can change it from day to good till canceled to good till date, fill or kill, just like you could on the other platform. If you click on the O at the very end of that symbol string or icon string, whatever you want to call it, O is for options. It's going to bring up an option chain. Obviously, ideally, you'd want to work off a computer, full screen laptop or desktop to trade options because it's a little easier to see, but this isn't so bad. Clicked on the E-mini S&P. I can change my expiration date by clicking on the arrows here. And it's not going to give me the Greeks or any of that stuff, but it will give me the basic bid and ask. You can see right now the 58.60 strike price is highlighted. The first two columns are calls. The second two columns are puts. And you can see that the bid and ask are kind of diagonal on the second column and the fourth column. So for example, we're 28.25 at 25.25 at 25.50. Of course, it's moving faster than I can say it. But you get the idea. On the puts, we're 27.25 at 27.75. In the first and third column, you're going to see the last trade or the settlement price. So in the case of the 58.60 call, it's 28.75. And then you're going to see the open interest of 297. Or if we're looking at the puts, the open interest is 4, which is quite interesting. So it's a pretty big difference. Actually, it's a really big update today in the S&P. And you can see that on the option chain. I mean, these are options that expire tomorrow, but it's really lopsided. And the 58.60 is the at the money strike, by the way. And you can see up in the left-hand corner, you can see the price of the underlying futures. It says U price. That means underlying price. And you can see ATM strike price. That means at the money strike price, which is highlighted right there in the center of the page, the 58.60. And we can scroll up or down if we'd like to. If you click on the arrows next to the O for options, the arrows will show you any working orders that you have in this particular contract. And this particular contract is the June E-mini S&P. If you had something working in the September contract or the December, it's not going to show on here because this is only showing you positions that you have working for this particular commodity. Okay, and the final icon is an informational icon. If I click on that, it's going to show me the contract specs for the E-mini S&P. Now, it doesn't give me as much information as you would get on the web version of this platform. Obviously, the mobile version's a lot skinnier, a lot less information, but we don't want we don't want all that information cluttering up our precious real estate. So it's okay. Once again, you can toggle between the icons at the very top to go from order tickets to dome panels and back to the chart. The chart's pretty self-explanatory. A lot of it's exactly what you would experience on the full-size version. You can add studies by clicking the study button. You can scroll through and find the indicators you want. You can view additional information by clicking on this eyeball. So that's something you can play with. If you're familiar with the web platform, this will be pretty easy for you. I'm not going to go through all the details. Now, to get back to the quote board, we're going to click the arrow on the upper left-hand corner of the page, and that brings us back to the quote board. So again, if we wanted to trade or chart corn, we would click on the corn symbol, and everything would be exactly the same. We can go to our order ticket, the OT. We can go to our chart by clicking the chart icon. If we want to see the specs, we click on the information. If we want to see our working orders, we click on the arrows. Okay, let's put a couple of orders in so we can see what they would look like in other parts of the application. I'm going to put orders and positions. So let's buy an E-mini S&P at the market. And just like we would experience on the web version, we're going to get a confirmation ticket of that. And then I'm going to place a sell order to, as an FYI, if this happens to you, sometimes if you have see this pause play button right here on the order ticket, if you have it paused and you toggle between two different products, the price will be frozen from the previous product. And that's obviously not what you're looking to do. So unpause it by clicking on the play button, and that'll refresh the price so that you can enter your order. So we're going to enter a profit taking order at 5,900. Okay, now when we go to our arrows, we can see that we do have an order working in the E-mini S&P. I'll put one into treasuries as well. This time I'm going to use the hot ticket. I'm just going to hit the sell one button. I'm also going to sell a 30-year bond. We're just going to hit sell at the market. And I'll place an order to buy that back, so we can see what it's going to look like here on our interface. Okay, you can see at the very top I have, I'm short one. You can see the position listed on the upper left-hand side. You can see I have an order working. If I go to the arrows on the top icon, I can see the orders working and I can see my position. Let's go back to the quote board. You can see your positions and your orders by using the icons at the very bottom of the page. The CQG logo takes you to the quote board. That's where we're at now. If I hit the B.S, that's buy and sell. Those are working orders. And I can toggle between all orders, working orders, parked orders, filled orders, canceled orders. So again, the BS is going to show us buy and sell orders. And we can toggle between all, working, parked, filled, canceled. If I go to the L.S, that's going to show me my positions. So those are open positions that are currently exposed to price change. I'm long one E-mini S&P, I'm short one treasury. And I can expand these by clicking on these arrows on the left-hand side. You can see my P&L. If I go to purchase and sales, it's going to show the outcome of closed positions for that session. So if we want to see the buys and sell orders and the open, long, and short positions, we use these icons at the bottom of the page, not necessarily from the quote board. Because remember, if we go to the quote board and we click on our working order tab from the quote board, that's only going to show us for that one product. You can see there's no bond orders there. I'd have to go to the bond tab to see my bond orders. But if I use the bottom tabs, it's going to show everything all on one page. There's also an alarm icon or a alerts messages icon at the bottom. If I click on the bell, I can toggle between alerts, messages, and orders. And you're not going to see orders on on the alert screen unless there's a problem. So you'd see something like the reason an order was rejected on this page. If you go to messages, you'll see a system message, maybe if there's some sort of odd margin change or something like that. And alerts would be the price alerts that you set either in your web platform on your computer or in this particular mobile version. And if I wanted to add an alert, you can see there's a little icon here. I can click on the plus, add alert, add price alert. And the final icon on the bottom bar is a $sign. The $sign is going to show your account balance, your margin. And of course, this is a demo account, but you'd be able to see your account stats there. And at the top, you can note, I toggled without telling you, that was my fault. You can toggle to summary or graphic. Now, I will warn you, if you are an option trader, the margin information that you get on this screen on your mobile version is not going to be what you want it to be. For our option traders, in fact, most of our position traders, we have customized the account summary screen on our web platforms to show the information that we need for our customers. But the mobile version and CQG in general, StoneX Futures platform, also known as CQG Desktop, in general will cater to day trading and day trading margins. And it's very confusing for those of us that are position trading, particularly with options. So just keep in mind, if you're on the mobile version of this platform, you're going to be able to buy, sell products, see your profit and loss, all of those sorts of things like you would on the web platform. But you're unfortunately at this time, and this might change in the future as we request improvements, but at this time, you're not going to see the accurate span margin levels on your cell phone. If you really wanted to see those, you could, if you recall, as I mentioned, you open the menu, go to preferences, and change your layout from mobile to desktop. And that would actually give you access to your desktop settings. So you'd be able to see your account summary with all the proper margining features, but that's going to be a lot of work for most of you. I would probably suggest use your mobile phone as a guide, but you're going to really want to make sure you have access to a computer or your statements at least, once a day to get a good idea of what the margin looks like. If for whatever reason you need to change your interface layout so that you can see your desktop settings, so that you can see your proper account summary and margining, by all means go for it, but it's not that convenient. So we're going to go back to the quote board. One last thing I would like to point out is if I go to my open positions tab, and again, that's the LS at the bottom, I can liquidate, reverse, close this position right from this screen. And I can do this by clicking on the arrow on the left-hand side to expand my options and give me a little more information. It's pretty obvious. I think if we click liquidate, it's going to create a market order. If I click reverse, I'm short one. If I click reverse, it's going to actually buy two at the market. And you can now see that I'm not only am I not short one, I'm actually long one. And then I can click go flat. If I hit go flat, you'll notice it's going to tell me it's going to cancel all working orders, parked orders, and liquidate the open position. So that's going to wipe everything out. And that's what we want to do. Anytime you liquidate a position, always go back and make sure you don't have any working orders that you don't want to be there. I just liquidated my E-mini S&P, but my stop is still working, and that's because I chose liquidate, not go flat. I'm going to go in there and manually cancel that. One last thing, if you go to the main menu, in fact, you can get here from anywhere actually, but the main menu is the upper left-hand corner. There's 3 lines. If you click on that, you're going to be able to access any of the pages that you can access on the bottom. For example, quotes, orders, positions, account, and there is an extra one, economic calendar, And alerts and messages are separate line items on the main menu, but they're included in a single icon on the bottom menu. As an FYI, anytime there is an upper right-hand corner X, you're going to want to use that to exit the screen that you're in. Otherwise, you're going to end up exiting the entire application, and that can be frustrating. So for example, if I go to economic calendar, if I hit the back button on the upper left-hand corner, it's going to take me back out of the application. That's not what I want to do. What I want to do is just get out of the economic calendar, and I can do that by hitting this X here in the upper right-hand. So don't frustrate yourself. If you see that X, use that. One other thing I will point out is on your orders, and even if you went to if I had open positions, which I don't because we just liquidated them, but if I did, you would see a filter button on the upper right, just like you see in the order screen. On the upper right-hand corner, there's a filter button. If I click on that, I can toggle between different types, different time frames. So if I just want the current session orders, I can do that. If I want yesterday's, last week's, so on and so forth. And I can even change the trade date. So just pointing that out. Okay, that concludes the mobile version of the StoneX Futures trading platform, also known as CQG Desktop. And again, we accessed this directly from the DeCarley Trading app. So I'm going to get out of it and show you this is where we got into it. You can, in theory, save the link to the StoneX platform on your mobile device, such as in your Chrome browser on your phone, or even an icon on your phone desktop, but I've found that to be a little bit troublesome. Doesn't always work the way we want it to work. It is much simpler, in my opinion, to download the DeCarley Trading mobile app and access the platform directly from this red bar at the top of our homepage.